For me, it's like coming home. I started in the police department in 1984, worked up my way up through the ranks, police officer, field training officer, sergeant, master sergeant, lieutenant, and I loved working with people. For me, that wasn't a job. It's what I did, it's who I was, and who I am. I then took the time off to become a commissioner. And to answer your question about what makes me the best or the most qualified candidate is it's not just being in law enforcement. It's not just being a police officer. It's not just knowing the streets, but also the knowledge that I have as a former county commissioner. Because you need to know how to navigate county government. Between November and January, and then in the following years to come, that knowledge is what separates me from everybody else. You need to know how to navigate county government. I was involved in the issue of the sheriff since its inception, since it passed in Amendment 10 back in 2018. And the knowledge that I have of county government, what a sheriff can, can't do, or doesn't have to do, that currently is being imposed on the Miami-Dade Police Department, are some of the negotiations that'll take place between myself, if I'm lucky enough to have your vote and get elected, the administration, and the Board of County Commissioners. So that combination of experience, both in law enforcement and knowledge of county government, nobody else has it in this particular race. I've always had, back in 1996, when I was a master sergeant, something came down called COPS, Community-Oriented Policing Program. And I did not like it, because normally we don't like change. But what occurred was I saw it work. So what's community-oriented policing? You assign officers to specific areas, and they become part of the community. At the beginning, it's 5-0, police. It starts changing to officer, and it gets to a point where they even know you by name. So what does that build? That builds trust. It builds trust between the community and law enforcement. And what does that lead to? Information. A lot of the crimes that occur, specifically in the neighborhoods that you're talking about or asking about, is people don't want to give information because they're afraid, because they don't trust. But once they do trust, and once that relationship starts, then and only then will you be able to go ahead and serve the community. I got my two youngest. One's going to be 21, the other one's going to be 23. And about 10, 11 years ago, we live out in West Kendall. A car goes by and it backfires. My girls did not even twitch, nothing. And I looked at them and I said, you have no idea how lucky you are. Because in neighborhoods that I have patrolled, if there's such a thing as a backfire or anything at all like that, the kids duck to preserve their life. And they are more worried about living than the things you're worried about going to a party. So what I want to do is I want to make everybody safe. I want those little girls in those particular neighborhoods to feel as safe as my children do in West Kendall. Because if they do feel safe, then they'll be able to concentrate on studying and other things that will make their life a lot better. Look, that's on the call. When you get a call like that and you're on the scene, everything is different. Not everybody reacts to the same thing. Not everybody is triggered by the same things. So the training that you would have is for them to obtain as much information before they go rushing in from the family members, from neighbors. Look, what's wrong with this person? Oh, he was a soldier. He suffers from PTSD. He has these issues before. And there's a lot of addresses that police officers know you get called to frequently. We had one guy, I remember 30 years ago, and I recall, and he was a Vietnam vet. And he was destroying his house. He was destroying everything. And an officer pulls up, and it reminded him of a colonel. The guy yells out, "Colonel." Luckily, that officer was smart enough to go, "Soldier, at ease." And you know what? It stopped. And he was a big guy, thank God, because he was a really, really big guy, and there was only two of us. But every situation is different. You can train as much as you can, but until you get to that call and you get the background information from family, from neighbors, from wherever you can, hopefully the 911 operator is asking these questions, and that's a training because communications will come under the sheriff's office. You train them, you ask these questions. So the officer has as much knowledge as possible when he gets there in a situation that can be calmed down, doesn't explode and become volatile. We've never done it. We didn't do it when I was a police officer, and we don't do it now. Or a deputy sheriff, because Miami-Dade Police Department is a sheriff's department. We never did it before. We'll stop people and ask them driver's license, registration if you're driving a car. If you're on the street, you ask them, do you have any identification, to find out who they are, but never ever have we asked people for papers. Now, there is no federal law at this moment where local or state has to help with anything like that. So no, if it becomes a federal law, if it becomes a state law, the sheriff's office, just like every other police department, will have to follow whatever those guidelines are. However, at this moment, there are no such things. So no, were I to be the sheriff, I would not round up people or deport them or turn them over to federal authorities. We will comply with the law. I was born here. I was raised here. My parents came over in '55 from Cuba. They were denied entry the first time. The second time they did. I was born here at Jackson Memorial Hospital. This is home. And I love home with all its problems, but it's got so many good things, so many good people that I just love South Florida.